Hey guys, so there's another argument I want to make because I saw recently online that people were debating about who was the greatest Laker. Was it Kobe Bryant or Magic Johnson? Because these are the two people usually consider as the greatest Laker. I know there's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, there's Shaq, there's Wilt, there's Jerry West, and there's Elgin Baylor, who should be in more of these discussions. But mainly it's Magic Johnson and Kobe if you're talking about overall career, right? I actually think Jerry West should be, since he actually engineered the Showtime Lakers and brought Shaq and Kobe together. But anyways, it's most people think it's either Kobe or Magic. Okay, so I know the younger generation pretty much they only saw two Hall of Famers for the Lakers play, and that's Shaq and Kobe. So if you look at Kobe Bryant, he played 20 seasons in the NBA. He's the third all-time leading scorer, third all-time in points for the NBA. He's the all-time leading scorer for the Lakers. So then people say, "Oh, Kobe Bryant must be the greatest." Well, I'm gonna make an argument for that for Magic Johnson being the greatest, and I'm gonna tell you guys why he's so obviously the greatest, and it shouldn't really even be a comparison. Yeah, I think there was a poll done recently of all the NBA GMs and executives, and they asked them who is the greatest Lakers of all time, and they put I think 70% said Magic Johnson was the greatest. 70%. So these GMs and executives are older than most of the fans, so I think they know what they're talking about. But just in case it isn't very clear why Magic is the best, I'm gonna give you my argument why. I already gave my argument on why I think Kobe is overrated, why I think LeBron and Tim Duncan is better than Kobe, and I gave my arguments why. But I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna argue why Magic Johnson is so much better than Kobe Bryant. Alright, so first of all, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats and awards comparison between Kobe and Magic. This is LandofBasketball.com. You can easily see it here. So Kobe and Magic have the same amount of rings. Kobe played 20 seasons compared to Magic's 13, which is because of Magic's early retirement due to HIV. Kobe only played two more playoffs than Magic did. Magic never missed the playoffs in his career. Kobe played more All-Star games than Magic. That's just because of longevity. And Magic Johnson has 3 MVP awards compared to Kobe's one. This despite playing with tougher competition. I think the only good team that Kobe and Shaq and the only tough team that Kobe really had to face was the 2008 Celtics because the Dwight Howard Orlando Magic and the 2010 Celtics, who were a little bit old and washed up, they weren't really that great. And who else? The Shaq competition wasn't that great either. I mean, the Indiana Pacers, the 76ers led by Iverson, and the Jason Kidd Nets weren't exactly that great either. So, and plus they lost against the so-called starless Detroit Pistons in 2004. Whereas Magic had to face the all-time great teams like Dr. J's 76ers, Isaiah Thomas led Detroit Pistons, and of course Larry Bird's Celtics, and beat them. So yeah, Magic Johnson won 3 MVPs and 3 Finals MVPs in that tougher era. Against those tougher competition, Kobe only won 2. And first team, Kobe only has 2 more despite playing 7 more seasons than Magic did. All NBA team total selections, Kobe only has 5 more despite playing 7 more seasons. All defensive teams, Kobe wins, but let me get back to this later on because I think that's a little bit weird and fake. So okay, Kobe has 2 scoring assist titles. That's to be expected because he's a shooting guard. Magic has 4 assist titles. That's to be expected since he's a point guard. Magic has 2 steals titles. Now this is really interesting because how could Kobe be all defensive first team all those years and not ever lead the league in steals before? That's a little bit weird, isn't it? Magic led the league 2 times in steals. For a guy whose so-called defense gets criticized a lot, he led the league in steals 2 times. So that's compared to Kobe's 0. So yeah, that's a little bit weird, isn't it? I think it's because the all defensive teams, they're just more defensive players back in Magic's day. That's why he couldn't make it. Whereas Kobe, there wasn't that great defensive players back in Kobe's day at his position. That's why he can make so many for so many first teams back then. Magic couldn't make any. Alright, so look at the stats now. Let's go into the stats. Kobe obviously shoots more than Magic does, so his points are obviously higher. Magic is a better rebounder, that being he's taller. And Magic also more than double the assist average of Kobe. That's because he's a point guard, but the margin is just so huge. I mean, 4.8 to 11.2 is a massive difference. And Magic averages more steals per game than Kobe, despite the fact that Kobe has so many more defensive team selections. Why is that? Okay, Magic and Kobe almost equal for blocks per game. How is that possible if Kobe was such a better defender than Magic Johnson? Why are they equal in blocks per game and steals per game, and Magic is higher in steals per game? That's interesting, right? Okay, Kobe's higher in total points. That's to be expected. He played longer and was a shooting guard. Total rebounds are pretty similar, despite the fact that Magic played 7 less seasons. Total assists, Magic Johnson is way higher, 10,000 assists. And total steals are pretty similar. This is just because Kobe played way longer, 7 more seasons, and have 200 more steals. Total blocks, Kobe has a little bit more as well because of his longevity, and he played whopping 400 more games than Magic Johnson did. Shooting percentage, Magic Johnson 52%, Kobe at 45%. I mean, I know that Kobe's a volume shooter and is a perimeter shooter, so his shots are harder, but come on, 7% difference, man. Magic Johnson's just a way more efficient shooter than Kobe is. 3-point percentage, Kobe is 3 more percent on Magic. Not as big of a deal as a 7% difference. Plus the fact that they didn't shoot that many threes back in the 80s anyway. Free throw percentage. Now this is interesting. Magic Johnson also has a higher free throw percentage compared to Kobe Bryant. Now why is that? Because I thought taller players couldn't shoot free throws as well as smaller players like guards do. Kobe Bryant is a guard. Despite that Magic Johnson is 6'9" and Kobe 6'6". Magic shoots free throws better than Kobe does. That's pretty interesting. Okay, and then the best seasons, I think Magic wins 3 of these, whereas Kobe wins on blocks per game and points per game by a huge margin. So that is the best season. Now look at playoff stats. Kobe also leads in playoff stats in points per game, as to be expected. Magic Johnson leads by more than 2 rebounds per game. And Magic Johnson also leads by a more than more than 7 assists per game difference in the playoffs per game. Pretty big. Steals per game, Magic is higher again, just like in the regular season. And blocks per game, Kobe is a little bit higher than Magic. So yeah, that's Magic was a pretty good defensive player, despite what people say. This is just proof of that. Okay, in total points, this is obviously going to be in favor of Kobe since he played 20 seasons compared to Magic's 13. However, despite that, Magic still has higher rebounds and higher assists and higher steals than Kobe. So Magic's higher in 3 categories, despite the fact that he played 7 less seasons. This should all be favored towards Kobe, you know. And yeah, this is again playoffs field goal percentage. Of course, Magic was more efficient again. Kobe is more efficient at 3-point by a lot this time, but it doesn't matter because Magic never shot many 3 points anyways. And free throws, whereas Magic Johnson beats Kobe again. I mean, that's surprising because Kobe's a guard. Okay, and best playoffs, this doesn't really matter. This just compares primes. And I think they split it this time anyway. So yeah, you can see the stats and awards here. And what I get from this is that despite playing less seasons, Magic Johnson leads Kobe Bryant in a lot of different categories. And despite the fact that Kobe had so many all-defensive team selections, Magic actually is pretty good on defensive side because he has more steals per game and more steals total than Kobe does. Sorry. Yeah, Magic has more steals per game average and more steals overall. Total stats. I think more steals per game in the playoffs. Where is it? There. Here we go. More steals per game in the playoffs. More steals per game total in the playoffs, and more steals per game in the regular season. Despite the fact that he didn't make any all defensive teams. So yeah, that's just a look at the awards and stats comparison between Kobe and Magic. Alright, that's the stats and awards. So let's go about the team, okay? Magic and Kareem brought the Lakers to 9 finals in 12 years. Kobe brought the Lakers to 7 finals in 10 years, right? So that's pretty good. I think that's pretty even actually, because 9 finals in 12, 7 finals in 10. Okay, that's pretty even. They both have 5 rings. That's pretty even. But Magic did it all while being the top dog on his team, except for arguably 1980, where Kareem was clearly the top dog. He was the league MVP. But after that, every other finals appearance, Magic was the leader, whereas Kobe was basically the sidekick for the first 3 rings, basically. So they had Shaq, who was the most dominant center ever. And yeah, Kobe was definitely the second option for the first 3 rings. And I know that people say, well, Kobe and Shaq were equal and stuff. No, that's pretty BS. No, Shaq won 3 MVPs for a reason, 3 finals MVPs for a reason. Okay, that guy averaged what, 30 and 16 for those, 30 and 14 or something for those 3 finals. So it's not even close. Like Kobe was the second option, but he was definitely a second option. They were not really equal. Okay, Shaq was definitely doing most of the work. Furthermore, you would never start a team with Kobe because he is a selfish player, as I already explained before, and he doesn't really help the team that much get better. And whereas Magic Johnson, you always start the team with Magic Johnson because he's possibly the greatest team player in sports history along Bill Russell, right? So that's another thing, right? And I know people bring up this argument. People bring up this argument more. Magic played with a better team, Kobe didn't. And for some reason, this makes Kobe better. Well, this doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, Magic played with a bunch of Hall of Famers, I know. But, no, and then people make the argument Kobe played with a pretty crap team some of his years. He played with Smush Parker. He played with Luke Walton. He played with Kwame Brown. He played with all these so-called crap players. Well, couldn't it be the reason that Magic is the reason why his teammates are better and Kobe, doesn't really help his teammates? That's why it seems like that. I'm sure if Magic played with those guys that Kobe played with, he could at least make them into all-stars, So yeah, I don't get why playing with a worse team. I don't get why playing with a worse team makes someone better. And if that was really the case, it would actually make you stand out more. So someone playing on a worse team like Kobe and someone playing on a better team like Magic, if you play on a better team because you have better teammates, your stats would go down. That's pretty obvious, right? If you have great teammates, they're going to have great stats as well. So your individual stats are going to go down, right? Whereas the playing on a bad team, the opposite would happen and your stats would go up, right? That's what happened with the 2001 76ers with Allen Iverson, right? His stats were pretty inflated for his career, basically, because he played with a crap team, right? And he had to handle most of the workload. His usage rate was high because his teammates were crap. Okay, so if we make this comparison, and I just made the argument why I think Magic's stats are better than Kobe. Why is Magic's stats and awards better than Kobe, even though Kobe played on a worse team? If Magic played on a better team, this shouldn't happen because his teammates are better. So then his teammates, should take some stats and awards away from Magic, but they didn't. That just, to me, that just validates Magic's greatness. The fact that Magic won 3 MVPs, 3 Finals MVPs, and averaged 27-11 while playing with Hall of Famers means that, and in the most competitive decade of the 80s, means that he is definitely, the leader of that team. Whereas Kobe, who in 2006, 2007, when he was in his prime, he was averaging something like 35 points a game, right? So if that was the case, why couldn't Kobe's stats be higher? Why couldn't Kobe win MVP? Why did Steve Nash win MVP? Like, if Kobe's stats were inflated and if he made his teammates better, then he would win more awards. His stats would be better, right? But that's not the case. Magic's stats are still better despite the fact that he had a better team. So yeah, I don't understand why being on a better team makes someone somehow worse. Like, yeah, Magic was on a better team, but it doesn't mean that Magic is any less great. And another thing is that Kobe played with a prime Shaq and a prime Gasol. While his Magic, he played with a past his prime Kareem for most of his career. Right? Kareem won League MVP in 1980, and up until 1984, I can probably give you the fact that Kareem was good. He was an all-star. However, after that, Kareem was out of his prime. Okay, that guy was like 38 years old or something in 1985 when he won his Finals MVP. You can't really tell me that a 38-year-old Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is as good as Shaq, a 28-year-old Shaq, right? That's like, Shaq is clearly better at that point, right? Kareem was past his prime. This isn't the Milwaukee Bucks Kareem. This is the past his prime old Kareem who could barely get his ass down the court for the Showtime Lakers, right? Like, yeah, Kareem was good, but he wasn't. He was past his prime for most of Magic's career, so that doesn't really help Magic. And I know they have James Worthy, but James Worthy isn't really a first option player. Like, Kobe played with Paul Gasol in his prime and Shaq in his prime, both of which are first option players. So, yeah, the argument that Magic even had a better team was kind of not very true. Kobe had a really good team as well. He had Paul Gasol, Andrew Bynum, Derek Fisher, Lamar Odom. Those guys are pretty good role players. They aren't exactly scrubs. Robert Horry, right? There's another one. So they weren't. He didn't really play with scrubs, and he had Phil Jackson. Magic had Pat Riley, right? Phil Jackson, in most people's eyes, are better than is a better coach than Pat Riley. So Kobe actually had a better coach. And not to mention, he also played with other Hall of Famers like Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Steve Nash, Dwight Howard. I know they're all past his prime, but he still played with those Hall of Famers. And yeah, Kobe was the reason why the Shaq and Kobe Lakers couldn't stay together. If they stayed together, then they could have won like 7 or 8 championships. Who knows, right? The competition was a lot less during that time as well. So the fact that Kobe actually was the reason why his team became bad, think about that, right? Because they argued so much during the 2004 season. They lost the finals to a Detroit Pistons team, which so-called didn't have any All-Stars. They lost to that team, whose best player was Ben Wallace, who didn't even average 10 points in his career. They lost to that team. And then Kobe was really, he drove Shaq away. He drove other free agents away. Maybe the reason why Kobe has a crap team is because he caused that. It's because his ego was so big. He wanted to be the leader of the team. Well, Kobe, if you didn't have that big ego, maybe you would have had more championships. Maybe you would have a good team. But maybe he was the reason why the team was bad. And Magic, on the other hand, well, no one really says any bad things about Magic. Everyone wants to play with Magic Johnson. So that's why Magic was able to keep his good team and Kobe was not. So there's another reason why I hate this argument that Magic has a better team. So he somehow makes it easier for him to get his awards and stuff. No, like, Magic is better, period, right? So yeah, I don't get that argument at all. Okay, so moving on to the next argument that Kobe fans make is Magic said that Kobe was the greatest Laker ever, so he must be the greatest Laker. So this is as stupid an argument as the previous one. Like, when did someone's opinion make it a fact? And the fact is that Magic and Jerry West are known to be unselfish players, unlike Kobe, right? So Magic and Jerry West don't have huge, gigantic egos like Kobe does. So that's what you would expect them to say, right? Do you expect Magic or Jerry West to say that themselves are the greatest Lakers? Like, we're at a time when Kobe is the franchise player of the Lakers? I don't think so, right? That would bring the franchise down. The fact that Kobe is the ticket getter, the money getter for the franchise, he has to bring in the tickets and everything. So Jerry West and Magic, who are retired, they wouldn't say something like Kobe is the greatest. They wouldn't say something that themselves are the greatest. They would obviously say that Kobe is the greatest to help bring the franchise up, right? They need to sell more tickets. They need to get more sales. So that's why they have to say that, right? Kobe is still currently playing. And so they have to kind of say that just to keep the franchise up. If they say that, oh, I'm the greatest Laker and stuff, well, why would people pay to see Kobe, right? So they have to kind of make that argument. Yeah, the current Hall of Famer is playing for the franchise. They need to take more money. So the argument is really stupid because, yeah, like, just because Magic said that, and just because Jordan said that Kobe, whatever, is the closest to him doesn't make him the greatest, because I already said that Kobe is so far from Jordan that the gap is just so big. There's no really comparison, right? Okay, Kobe stole all of Jordan's moves, but just because Jordan said that doesn't mean it's true either, right? You gotta ask the basketball experts, not really the players, because especially players with the same franchise, because they're biased, Okay, so yeah, that's my refuting of those arguments. And finally, I want to end on this fact that how can Magic not be the greatest Laker when he's ranked in the top 5 of the all-time greatest NBA players on most people's lists? Like, I'm not talking about the current generation Lakers fans who would put Kobe number 2 right below Jordan. I'm talking about the basketball experts. I'm talking about the basketball historians, the statisticians, the guys who really look at the stats, the guys who look at the impact, win shares, even per or plus minus, whatever those other advanced stats are. Other basketball experts on ESPN, whatever have you, like all of those basketball players, I think all of them put Magic in their top 5 of all-time greatest players. Some of them may have Kobe in the top 5, but very, very few minority. But I'm pretty sure all of them had Magic in the top 5. And also I do too as well. So, as do I. Like, the fact is you just can't argue about that. Magic's resume, the fact that he brought everyone up to a great, he made everyone so much better. He's just the greatest team player in NBA history. Like, the fact that he won the NBA championship in his rookie year, and the fact that previously, in his previous years, the Lakers couldn't even make it to the finals, like, that just tells you about how much impact Magic Johnson had. But people usually rank Magic along with Kareem, Russell, Wilt, Bird, and Jordan in some order in the top 5. Well, Jordan's usually number 1, but the rest of them in some order in the top 5. Magic is usually in there. Kobe is usually ranked in the lower top 5 of the. He's usually ranked in the lower top 10. So I also have Kobe in the top 10. So I don't absolutely hate Kobe. I don't like say, oh, Kobe's a trash basketball player. I'm not like that. Kobe is a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a great player. He's just not as great as Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan, or LeBron James, as I've made my argument. I do have him in my top 10 though, but slightly ahead of Jerry West. How can Kobe be always beneath Magic in these rankings, and yet Kobe be the greatest Laker? It doesn't make any sense. By default, like by definition, the greater basketball player is, the greater player, right? So the greatest basketball player, like the higher the ranking, the greater the player. So Magic Johnson is ranked higher on most people's list. How can he not be the greatest Laker? So those are my arguments why I think Magic Johnson is so obviously better than Kobe Bryant in terms of being both a player and also the greatest Laker. Magic brought the NBA back into relevance along with Larry Bird. Kobe's really popular, but really he was riding the coattails of Jordan, who actually made basketball really popular around the globe. Kobe really got famous because of his association with Jordan, the fact that he copied a lot of Jordan's moves, that he has the same skill set as Jordan, they play the same position, they're the same height, and then people really compare them a lot. And because MJ was so popular and he's, the greatest player ever, then many people, that's how Kobe became so popular. Anyways, as of right now, Kobe is a leading all-star balloter, and which really doesn't make sense to me. Like, I know it's Kobe's last year, but the All-Star game shouldn't be a popularity contest, even though I know it is, but it really shouldn't be. It should be for the best players in the game. But yeah, that's just my rant about this so far. I think Kobe is overrated and he's riding the coattails of Jordan, and but still he's a top 10 player. So yeah, that's it. If you guys have any comments, want to debate with me on this, you can go ahead, but I think my arguments are pretty sound. So yeah, thanks for watching.